going to talk more about the house that I'm building. This is inside the inside. We're going to be inside today instead of outside. So, anyways, this might be a little bit of a longer video, so you might want to subscribe so you can click back to it if you want to. There'll be some stuff on here, and I know sometimes I'll see a YouTube video and I'll watch it and I'll try to find it again and I can't. So you can subscribe, you can unsubscribe just as easily as you subscribe. It doesn't cost any money, but you might find some of this stuff helpful. So you can do that if you want. So here we go. These are the jack studs here holding up this beam again. So we've got two 2x12s up here. The reason you have these coming across right here and setting on this is this sends the weight, all the weight that's up here from these trusses coming across here. If you didn't have this in here, this would sag down and your window wouldn't fit correctly and your wall would sag. So this is held up here and it transfers this weight down to here. And that way this doesn't sag. And up here you can see the hurricane strap. So these go on the truss and they hold the truss down to the wall, to the top plate. You can see this is a double top plate here. Most things have double top plates on them unless it's a little shed. This is 2x6 construction. You know, everything's to code here, or actually better than code. So you can always exceed code. You have to at least be code, but you can always make it better than code. So here we are, just kind of a layout, you know, of what it looks like inside. We were able to get everything done, get everything dried in. It rained the day after we got done, or that night when we were done. So these little cups here you see, those are little rain catchers, because on this zip siding, if you send a nail too far through it, it's gonna leave a little divot in it and it's actually going to leak. And they say that if they're all imperfect they won't leak, but you can't get all of them imperfect. So these were the three out of all the nails on the roof sheeting. These are the three that actually had a drip. So anyways, Zip makes a stuff that's in a tube like caulk, and I went around and I coated every hole that was in there. If it had a nail, even if it was perfect, I still went ahead and just put that stuff on there. Just put it on there and smear it with like a little putty knife or a Bondo spreader or something, little plastic deal. You can use a plastic door shim. I remember using those too. So anyways, that's what you're looking at. This is a front door here from Feather River. That was from Lowe's. 650 bucks. Really nice door for that money. I don't even know if you can get them anymore, but if you can, Feather River. This right here is, again, those headers that go across, you know, these beams that but take this weight of the roof down to the ground. Now this doesn't have much weight on it because the trusses are setting on the sides of it. So the real weight of the house is setting on these, being transferred down the wall into the block foundation. There's another video on the block foundation stuff. So try to speed this up so it's not so long. This is the bedroom. So here we are. I think this thing is like, the whole thing is 13 feet wide on the bedroom and about 17 feet long. On the plans, I had the wall moved out to make that bedroom a foot long. So this wall right here, I had them move that out a little bit to make it 1 foot bigger so that the bathroom would be 5 by 9. So most bathrooms in a regular track home style home, you're going to have a bathroom probably in the hallway, the guest bath, I guess they call it. This only has 1 bath, so but you want it a little bit bigger, because if it was 4 by 8, or what was it? If it was 5 by 8, because you got to go 5 foot, so you can get a 60-inch shower pan or 60-inch tub. That's approximate, you know, what sizes they use. So 60-inch tub or a 60-inch shower, and then when you can put a 36-inch vanity in. So I'll try to have a thing on the floor plan right after this video, and you can kind of understand that through there. But anyways, this wall was pulled out. So on the plan, it's going to say maybe the bedroom was 16 feet in length, but it was really 17 feet. So move that up a little bit. And that's just pretty much boring Advantech flooring type stuff. And we were able to get this all dried in. That was really nice to not have rain all over it, because there's a video where I had a mold problem. They delivered the lumber. They delivered a bunch of old moldy lumber, and they had to come pick it all back up, and they had to build new trusses. And so you're going to have people that are going to try to take advantage of you when you're building your house. They're going to try to send you bad products like you're supposed to accept them. The one thing that these people want to do is they want to get your money in their pocket as quick as possible. So you got to watch out for that, and you're going to have to fight your way through it, because they're going to try it. And you never know when it's coming, but I can tell you, it's coming. Some more pictures there. Try to keep the thing pretty clean. I had lots of time. My wife was helping me sweep up, clean up. There's a couple messy shots, and there's my cups again, catching that rainwater. This is the hot water stand right here. Built a little stand to put the hot water tank up. I went with a 40-gallon hot water tank. We'd been living in an RV, and when you got 6 gallons of water, hot water, you're taking a shower, you got to be real careful. So I wanted to have definitely enough water. So I probably could have went with a 20 or 30, and that would have been fine too. But ended up going with a 40. This here is the washer outlet box, where you get your hot water and your cold water in here to your washer. This is the drain. You got to have a P-trap here. This piece of pipe here is actually going to be connected to here, and it's going to go up through the roof and across, and then it has to come out through the roof, and that allows it to vent the gases off. If you didn't have this P-trap, the gas could come up through here, and the interior of your house would smell like a septic tank, which is not a pleasant smell. You could put all the candles you want in it, and it's still going to smell like a septic tank. So you notice here we've got really good ventilation to the outside. I had a shed that had a condensation problem. I didn't have enough airflow, so now when I build, I always make sure I've got enough airflow coming up through here. And I'll get to that again when you can look at the back of the house. And this is that, I don't know if I talked about that, zip stretch tape. Put that at the bottom of your windows. It stretches around there, glues to it, makes it impenetrable to water, so nothing can get on there. If you're going to have a window leak, it's going to be down in these corners. Electric box, pretty much standard. You run your wires up through, and then you go across the attic area with the wires, because that's the better than having to drill holes in all the studs to get the wire through. So everybody just runs them up through the top. That has to be mounted in the bedroom. So that's in the bedroom wall. So I got a panel in the bedroom wall. I wanted to put it in the closet, but they don't allow that. Your place could be different. This right here is just a ceiling fan mount. Just got one ceiling fan light combo in the bedroom. Couple more wires running here and there for different things. This one up here is a smoke detector. This one here is a smoke detector. You have to have smoke detectors. They have to be in kind of a certain area. Usually on the plans, they'll when you go to the county, get your permit, they give you a little packet of stuff, and it explains where stuff goes and why stuff goes there. So this right here, you have to tie these two sheets. So this is like an 8-foot sheet here, and then you've got this sheet here. You have to tie them together. So that's one of the things that I noticed on the plan. You'll see them over here. You'll see them over here. You didn't have to do all of them, but on the plan it said that these must be continuous sheeting. So you can't get like an 11-foot continuous sheet or whatever, however tall your wall is. So you have to tie them in together with that right there, 2x4 and some nails. This right here is the kitchen. So I'm kind of laying out the cabinets right here. Got some blue tape there. Then a sink there, this there, because they don't really show that on the plans. You have to kind of figure that out yourself. And light switches, for the bathroom. For the kitchen. I usually put mine a little bit higher than, and I like to, when I do cabinets, I like to have a little bit more room between the base cabinet and the top cabinet. I had a house one time that a builder had built, and it was very close in there. You could barely fit a coffee maker underneath there. It was like 13 inches, and I always hated that. So I think I've been raising mine up to where there's about 18 inches between the countertop and the upper cabinets. So that's something to think about. You can make that choice. You know, it depends on how tall you are, or you know how long your arms are, how far you want to reach. You usually got to check with the wife to make sure those things are okay. This is the stove plug here. After I got this all done, I had to move this stove plug from here over to here, and that was after the drywall was all done and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. It was really fun. Got to move stuff around. So you're gonna have that, man. It ain't never gonna come out perfect. So don't be mad. There I am coming in the door. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm getting my picture taken, but there I am. And again, the washer outlet box, you know, washer drain comes through here, goes down through here. We got a clean out right here. So let's say if something should get in the drain pipe, need to clean out, you can unscrew that right there and run a snake or something down through it. Plumber's tool that you can get the clog out of there. And then this comes up and runs to here, and that again is that vent to keep the gas. So the gas will flow up here because it can't go this way because we got a P-trap right here. And there's a certain amount of height, like on this thing here. I think it's got to be 12 inches off the ground maybe or something. So this pipe here can only be so long. I can't remember exactly what that was. So, but there is some sort of a code with that. And then here you can see again, we're going, that pipe, the vent stack is going this way, and it's coming up through here, and I tied into it here and went straight up through the roof. And you'll notice here I really got close to the edge of that 2x4. This is not a load-bearing wall, so don't be concerned about that. Somebody will probably say, you can't do that to a load-bearing wall, but it's not a load-bearing wall. This is a load-bearing wall. This right here doesn't do anything. It just holds up some drywall. So then we came up through here, and then, you know, the other vent comes through here, and they both tie into one. I didn't want to put two holes if I didn't have to. And you can start to see here this ridge vent. This is for the condensation to come out of here. So we want cold, cool air to come up and rise up through here. There's about a 3-inch gap up there, and that 3-inch gap allows for that hot air to escape. Now what do we got here? This is just the behind the counter. This is sink drain right here. So again, goes up and vents. There it is again. Got a lot of pictures of that one. That's the vent again. Vent again. I always take lots of pictures because, you know, you think you're going to remember where everything's at, but you don't remember where everything's at. You'll notice up here I haven't put in my nail plates yet. You got to put plates across here because I know there's not much of a chance of getting a screw through there, but it could happen. Somebody would get crazy, put a 3-inch nail right through that pipe. And like I said, that's a vent pipe, so there's not water flowing through this, but you still want to put a nail plate there to prevent anybody from hitting your pipes. Bathroom, fart fan. They call it a fart fan, vent fan. It's really, I guess it'll work for a fart fan, but it's really a condensation thing. This here, the bathroom gets a lot of condensation in it. Hot water, steamy, hot showers. You need this right here. Will pump that out. So they call it a fart fan, but it's not really for farting. It's more for condensation. And I just went right off of this with some hard piping and right up through the roof. And one thing you got to watch for on these too, if you don't get a good flow on them, that air kind of gets, it doesn't go out fast enough, and you might get some condensation in the pipe. I used all hard piping, and I made sure that when I used it, I went ahead and wrapped it all with insulation and stuff too, where it went up through the roof. There might be a picture of that, but little things like this make a lot of difference. I don't use flex pipe. I don't use that corrugated stuff like they use on washers and dryers and stuff. Looks like tin foil wrapped around a spring. That stuff always gets wet and it gets dirty, and I don't like it. So this is straight piped out like a diesel truck all the way out. This is the shower drain. So here we've got just the drain for the shower. So the shower pan sets down here. Water goes down through it. This requires a P-trap too. Otherwise, the sewer gas would come up through it and your house would smell like a septic. There's that again. I can't get over that one. I must have been pretty proud of myself. Which one is that? You know what? Yeah, that's the same one. Anyways, and there it is coming up through the roof again. We go right out through the roof. So I've only got 2 penetration holes in the roof. And that even bothered me. I hate to put holes in my roof. But you got to vent this out, So there it is again. And there's the shower box. I really like this box because it comes with this fittings on it here for PEX A. So you just expand the pipe. And I got another video of talking about the PEX A pipe and the PEX gun that Milwaukee makes and how much better it makes life. So anyways, these are a little close together though. I wish they were a little farther apart. See how close those handles are together? It could have been just a little bit bigger. Maybe if it was larger, it could have went all the way between here. But it's on, and I ain't changing it. So that's it all done. Hurricane clips again. It's a pretty good picture of those. So gotta make sure to use those. That's code too. They'll make sure you use them. If you don't have them, you'll be pounding them in. They're not that fun. They make a little nail gun for it though, like a palm nailer that you might find that's going to help those out. Otherwise, you got to hand nail them. More wires. Building up stuff. The electrician's coming in a few days. I had a bunch of stuff left over. I was supposed to while we were living in the RV, and then I was able to just do a complete different sewer pipe and run into the side of the septic. So I like that. I don't know if all septics have that or not, but this one did, so I was happy. And then here's the clean out. So you're going to run into the house this way. So if you've got a clog in there, you can take the cap off of this and run your snake through there. If you've got a clog down here, you can run it this way towards the septic. So plumbers like that. Everybody likes it. You don't like it till you need it. Then you're going to like it a lot. So go ahead and put those in. Acquired a ringless meter. And not even the guy from the electric company who was doing this job knew the difference. But anyways, this is the difference. The other one had like a ring around it. And there's another video on the channel that has that. So, but nobody knew, nobody had heard of it. First one I bought was from Siemens. I bought it from Lowe's. It was like, I think it was $400, and you need to get a 200 amp breaker for it. So when I went to get a 200 amp breaker for it, it was actually, the panel was discontinued, and it was actually a ring model, so it wouldn't even worked anyways. And it was discontinued, and the only place you could get the 200 amp circuit breaker, I just said the word, 200 amp breaker was from eBay, and it was used, and that was the only one that I could find. So anyways, took that back to Lowe's. The electrician found this one here. I don't know what this is. Midwestern, maybe? The one with the duck on it. And anyways, this one here was $400, and it had the breaker in it, I think. So much better product, much better deal. So, but yeah, the difference between a ringless and ring meter, you'll see the difference. I guess this is kind of when we're finishing up. It looks like it's starting to get, this must have been about September 1st, because the trees are starting to change colors a little bit. So, but yeah, we're wrapping the siding around the back side of it. Here's some shots of the insulation. So we just went with regular insulation, R19. This is 2x6 construction. So R19 in the walls, R21 in the floor. I've looked at other insulations. I've done different insulation. I'm just going to stick with this stuff. It's I like it. You research everything about spray foam, rock wool, whatever you want to do. this stuff works really good, keeps the house warm, and I haven't had a problem with it. And they've been using it for a number of years. So, but you can use whatever you want in your house. R38 in the roof too. I should have mentioned that. This right, I like the regular insulation. It's a pretty regular house. Pretty regular insulation. So there's a shower pan getting ready to be installed, it looks like. Then the drywall guys came out. I didn't do the drywall. I can't do drywall. I'm the worst at drywall. You might think you're the worst at drywall, but you're not. I am the worst at drywall. That's it. That's when it's, well, not done, but it was close to done. You need some steps and some railing around here to actually get your final, but we finished all that up and got the final done. I think it took about 7 months, and some of that was because building materials didn't show up on time or something like that, but I think it was about 7 months to do it. So going into the side of the septic there, coming out of the house into the septic, nice big crawl space too. If you're going to do a house block foundation, you're going to be crawling in and out of there. Make that a little bigger. I think they had that thing at like 16 by 16. You know, it was very small, maybe 16 by 24, but it would have definitely been a crawl space. When you go underneath here, you've actually got enough room to set up. So you're not laying on your back. When I was doing the plumbing, I could actually set up, and my head just barely hit the bottom of the insulation. And I guess that's pretty much it. The insulation too, I had guys do that. They could do the insulation and install it, get it and install it cheaper than I could even get it for. And they were nice, efficient guys, did a great job. If you need an insulation guy in Southwest Virginia, let me know. I'll see if he's still doing it. I think he was getting ready to retire. We're losing a lot of good guys, older dudes that are retiring from places. It's I don't know who's going to take their places. You guys, if you're a young guy out there, you need to learn construction, plumbing, framing, stuff like that. You're going to have a pretty good job. The bad part about it is it's always hit and miss. You know, you're making a ton of money for a year and a half, and then you're not making anything. And when you're younger, you can't save money. It's hard. You gotta spend it. So maybe go into the construction trades, because there ain't nobody left. This is just some of the insulation and did around the pipes. Didn't want any bugs coming up, you know, nothing like that. Insulated all these pipes too with some foam and some tape, and I'm not exactly sure why on some of those interior walls, but might as well do it. This is underneath the these are the water lines coming up into the house that supply water to the water tank. This comes around at the top. What you do when you go to test your plumbing is you plug up all the lines, you put plugs on everything, caps, and different ways of doing that for plumbing, and then you run these two together through a hose. So this hose just loops around, and then you air up the lines. So outside where you're going to have your hose spigot, you'll actually air up the lines and keep it like 60 psi, and you can tell if it's going to leak. I didn't have any leaks on anything, because that PEX makes it so easy. It's pretty much leak proof. Drywall, green drywall in the bathroom. Have to use that because again, I think it's code. Green board they call it. I guess it doesn't mold. Has something in it that allows it to be used in wet surfaces. You know, back here behind the dryer and stuff, and the water tank, they used it on the bottom, but not all the way on the top. So I guess whatever it took to satisfy code. No special trim, anything like that. We're just drywall on this thing, and you know, it's drywalled around the windows. There's no trim. That's how they build houses pretty much in Arizona. You just wrap that around. Some people use round corner bead, some people use square. Doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to use. Pipes, ditch. This is the ditch here going out to the well, and the well house was built right here. This goes through the foundation, another hole in it. So this is electric conduit, and then inside of that I slipped that piece of PEX. So if I need to pull that out of there, I can just pull it out without having to dig everything up again. Pipes are just coming up out of the ground, going to the well tank, you know, getting pressurized and coming into the house. So pretty standard there. I guess that's it then. So you can subscribe if you want. I'm going to go into some more detail on this, at least the floor plan and stuff. And